All right, good afternoon and good evening, everybody, and welcome to this year's Delaware Business Leaders Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Trey Jones from Merrill Lynch and Bank of America. Former Young Professionals board member of Junior Achievement of Delaware and currently sitting on the board of directors for Junior Achievement. So we're looking forward to a fun and inspiring evening. As a reminder, this session is being recorded for future use. And just a few suggestions for everyone before we begin. Again, during the event, please be sure to remain on mute. Now, we encourage everybody to show their support for the inductees and participants by commenting in the Zoom chat box. If you'd like to make additional pledges towards the scholarship, you can also do so by using the Zoom pledge box. We recommend you switch your viewing option to speaker mode. And lastly, we want to make sure you have fun and enjoy the induction ceremony. So this event is not possible without our generous sponsors, and we would like to take a moment to recognize them for their support. Starting off, we have Capital One, Delaware Business Times, Chesapeake Utilities, Assurance Media, Artesian Water, Delmarva Power, Highmark Delaware. Backing up one, we have M&T Bank, and then we have Neil at Bank of America, CSC, Christiana Care, and My Sherpa, Sun East, and GFP Cement. Now to begin the festivities, here is another Young Professionals board member, Noah Olsen, and he is representing the Delaware Prosperity Partnership. Noah, take it away.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 30th Annual Delaware Business Leaders Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. I'm Noah Olsen, Innovation Support Manager for Delaware Prosperity Partnership and member of the Junior Achievement of Delaware Young Professionals Board. It is my privilege to represent JA's Young Professionals Board, which is working behind the scenes to make this virtual induction ceremony a reality. Special shout out to my colleagues who have taken on volunteer leadership roles for the Hall of Fame. Marketing and Communications Chair Danae Crumrine from Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Virtual Hall of Fame Production Chair Brianna Huff from Navient. The business leaders inducted into the Hall of Fame epitomize the more than 2,000 successful business role models that interact with junior achievement students across Delaware each year. At the 2019 Hall of Fame, we introduced you to some students who are about to start up their own JA business with the guidance of volunteers from CSC, and we vowed to return this year to tell you some of their stories. In a moment, you will meet two of these students, who are the first recipients of the Francis G. Alvarez Award. Both of these young men will receive a $2,500 scholarship made possible by our Hall of Fame sponsors. Thank you so much to all of our generous Hall of Fame sponsors, whose contributions are making tonight's event and the Francis G. Alvarez Scholarship Awards possible. If you would like to personally pledge a contribution, or if your business would like to make a live pledge right now to increase the scholarship that the students will receive, we encourage you to use the chat feature to state your name or business name and the amount of your pledge. Each pledge will be equally divided between the two students receiving the Francis G. Alvarez Award. Since Hall of Fame inductees are the ultimate role models for Delaware students, when the scholarship recipients introduce themselves, they will also share a question they have for each of the Hall of Fame laureates. The laureates will share their answers during their acceptance remarks. Before we meet the students, I'm pleased to share a video produced in partnership with the DPP, which features one of the scholarship recipients and provides insight on how Delaware businesses and schools can work together with JA to create a more competitive workforce. Enjoy!
Since I was little, I always had like an entrepreneurial mindset. Like my parents always pushed me to find a passion. So Junior Achievement was the textbook for that, you know? Like it broke down everything I need to know to learn how to start a business.
We have been working with Kair. This was our second year. This year it was at CSC, and Vanessa and some of the other CSC volunteers would come in and really coach up the students. Some of the early lessons are just around gaining more employability skills, but then as they're moving through the program, they're helping them to learn how to brainstorm and how to collaborate together, how to be creative thinkers. And then they use that to actually run a real life business.
You know, CSC is really awesome at sort of welcoming folks into the family. We tried to make them as comfortable as possible to the point where they felt comfortable practicing presentations and things with us and taking direct feedback.
There was a time in every meeting where you could just talk to a mentor. It was cool to have people to talk to who are older than me, that have more experience than me, to really kind of give me a perspective.
I think that's what really is neat about junior achievement is typically we serve students that don't always have the resources available to them. And what I love about that is that being able to help and support young people that don't necessarily have a lot of experiences and resources, to be able to provide those or connect them through junior achievement so that they do have those opportunities is what drives me every day.
Hello to all Junior Achievement supporters and volunteers. My name is Kai Dupree, and I'm happy to be attending my second Business Leaders Hall of Fame. After an amazing GA experience at CSC last year, I am now a freshman at Delaware State University. I'm grateful for the scholarship, and I want to thank all the sponsors for making the Francis G. Alvarez Award possible. I'm humbled to be here with the Hall of Fame inductees, and I want to express my congratulations to all of them. My question for the Hall of Fame inductees: what is one thing you wish you knew or you wish you had done differently when you were my age? Thank you.
Hello everyone. It is great to be here at the Hall of Fame after running our small business at CSC during my senior year in high school. My name is Kai Davenport Cheney, and I am a freshman at Delaware Valley University. I really appreciate the scholarship, and I'm especially grateful for folks who are inspired to make pledges to add to the scholarship during the Hall of Fame ceremony. My question for the Hall of Fame inductees is, what is your advice for a young person like me when they face obstacles to employment or advancement? And here to get us all a few steps closer to hearing the Hall of Fame inductees' answers to our questions is Hall of Fame co-chair Terry Quinn Gray.
Thank you, Kai and Kyer. I am Terry Quinn Gray, Technology Senior Manager with the DuPont Company. I am delighted to serve as co-chair of the 2020 Delaware Business Leaders Hall of Fame, along with fellow co-chairs Charles Madden from the Delaware Prosperity Partnership and Tim Butler from Iron Mountain. Charles, Tim, and I, like all of you, are here to celebrate three extraordinary leaders and their extensive contributions in business and communities in which we live and work. Tonight's Hall of Fame inductees epitomize high character and high standards in everything they do, in addition to being accomplished individuals in the areas of strategic management, entrepreneurship, and innovation. This 2020 class will stand tonight as the first laureates of color to be inducted into the Delaware Hall of Fame since it was established in 1990. Some may say, why now? When Rob Epps thoughtfully brought forth the call for nominations, Charles, Tim, and I said, there's no better time than now to shift the narrative toward honoring the full diversity of businesses that have positive impact on the workforce and economic development in Delaware and the surrounding region. Tonight is a new beginning for junior achievement, and we're doing something that has never been done. We are imagining a transformation of the Delaware Business Leaders Hall of Fame that endures for years to come, and build on tonight's recognition of phenomenal entrepreneurs, men and women, inclusive of all, particularly those who identify as Black and brown people across generations. Furthermore, we owe role models with different backgrounds and cultures, various gifts and interests to the thousands of local students that engage with junior achievement each year. We must provide aspiring entrepreneurs with experiences that affirm them, that challenge them, that model behaviors that catalyze innovation and growth. This takes us back to the questions that Kai and Kayer posed just now. Kayer's question, what do you wish you had known or wish you had done differently when you were younger? Is a very poignant question. Kai inquired, what advice do you have for young people like me when facing obstacles to employment or advancement? Which is highly relevant query in these unprecedented times of a triple threat with the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuing economic crisis, and social reckoning with human injustices worldwide. These are questions we all have or may face at different points in our lives. Those of us with life experience understand that even when you think you have learned a lesson, there can be circumstances that have us dealing with the same or similar challenges over and over again. So I personally look forward to the 2020 laureates sharing their perspectives around these timeless questions. Now, it is my distinct honor and absolute pleasure to present our first Hall of Fame inductee this evening, Dr. Devonna E.G. Williams. Devonna is president and CEO of Goins Williams Associates Incorporated. GWA, headquartered in Clayton, Delaware, was founded in 1986, 31 years ago, focusing on people, process, and performance. Dr. Williams is an expert in strategic planning, organizational performance, focus group research, meeting and retreat facilitation. She has helped more than 50,000 individuals across hundreds of organizations develop strategies to meet organizational and individual goals and achieve lasting results. In 2011, Devonna was named Entrepreneur of the Year by the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated and named Consultant of the Year by the Denver Business Journal in 2006. GWA received the Marvin S. Gilman Superstars Business Award in June 2000, and the firm was named a top 100 minority business enterprise in the region in 2009. In addition to being an award-winning entrepreneur, Dr. Williams is author of The Intentional Consultant, How to Grow a Sustainable Practice. She's contributing author to the inspirational book, Remarkable Women, as she is one of those, and creator of the national best-selling Spice of Life Diversity Card Training Tool. Prior to her entrepreneurial success, Devonna was an executive at the DuPont Corporation and held appointments in public policy administration with the federal government and Delaware legislature. And if she has done enough, she holds a doctorate in urban affairs and public policy from the University of Delaware and is assistant professor of organizational development and leadership at the UD School of Urban Affairs. She's an active community servant. Dr. Williams is member of the Governor's Supplier Diversity Council, the Department of Health and Social Services Reorganization Task Force, and is currently the chair of the Delaware State University Board of Trustees and Foundation. Here to provide a testimonial to Devonna is Delaware State University President, Dr. Tony Allen.
Hi, my name is Tony Allen, President of Delaware State University, and tonight I am delighted to honor my friend, Dr. Devonna Williams. When I first met Devonna, I was just a young man trying to find my way in a nonprofit community. Later, I went to the same school she went to, did the kinds of things she did to try to improve the lives of others. And now we find ourselves here together at Delaware State University. She is a proud, proud woman. But more importantly, when I think of quality leaders, and I've known more than a few in my life, none comes to mind more than Devonna when I think about working hard, staying humble, and being kind. She's an exemplary leader, serving hundreds of thousands of people over her 34-year career as an entrepreneur. She is a woman of community. She's a woman of family, and she's a woman of faith. She feels deeply, but she is also an expert at what she does. And bringing those two things together to solve some of our country's most pressing problems has been the staple of her career and her company. So when you think of business leaders who care about the communities they serve and are also exceptional at what they do, I always think of Dr. Devonna Williams. I could not be more proud of our friendship and our working relationship and what that means to the community that is Delaware State University. We talk almost every week, and when we do, we always end thinking about what we can do better, how we can be better for our students, for our faculty and staff, for our alumni, and for this entire extraordinary university. She's an incredible example for us here at Delaware State University, an incredible example for young women and mid-career professionals, and she's an incredible example of somebody who believes and walks in faith. So when you think junior achievement, particularly you young people, of quality folks that you want to chase for a little bit, think of Dr. Devonna Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to present to you the Delaware Business Hall of Fame 2020 Laureate, my friend, a member of my family, Dr. Devonna Williams. Congratulations, D.
Wow. Thank you. I guess I'm up officially. I am just blown away by the video, and my dear friend, Dr. Tony Allen, for that just heartfelt testimony. And he's so correct in that we often kid that we've been chasing each other for many years in many parts of our lives. And it's just so touching to hear what he's had to say. And yes, very dear friend. And it is an irony that we both end up in the same place with the serving Delaware State University with the passion that we equally share. Well, I'd like to start off first by giving honor to God for sustaining me to be able to be here with you, particularly at this time that we all find ourselves in. I am truly blessed to be here and to be a part of this. And I'd like to acknowledge the co-chairs of this Delaware Business Leaders Hall of Fame, the Junior Achievement Young Professionals Board, staff, my fellow honorees and inductees, family, friends, and special guests. I am honored and humbled to receive this award. And this award is one of a kind. It's really beautiful, and I hope you all can see it, but it has the world on it. It's like I'm holding the world in my hands, and I have a responsibility because of it. I want to thank the selection committee for recognizing me. And I also want to thank my family, my husband, Ken Anderson, my sister, Lori, and her husband, Robert, my son, Freeman Williams, and my lovely daughter-in-law, Tamika, and my grandsons, Bryson and Mason, my best friends, Debbie and Ronnie Gaines, and my nephews and nieces, if you're out there, Josh, Joel, Jen, my GWA associates, Bonnie Miller, who's been with me almost since the beginning, Catalina Natalini, Mary Perkins, and my Delaware State University family, especially Dr. Tony Allen, Dr. Vita Pickram, and Mary and Dr. and Tamara Stoner. And my former UD leadership students, if they're out there, Vincent Rojas and Becky Schultz, and of course my friends and my wonderful clients, including my MAC team that we talk almost every day as well. And I know I'm going to miss somebody. We always do in these things. So I thank all of you who are here to celebrate with all of us with junior achievement. And it's just awesome to be a part of this. And I like to say that this award is also in the name of my father and my brother, who both inspired me, my entrepreneurial spirit. My dad, who always told me that if you have your own business, you will always be able to decide what things you get behind and what you don't, and you'll be able to make more money than when you work for someone else. And so I've always remembered that. And I want to recognize my mother for giving me the gift of resourcefulness and letting me know that there's always a way. There's always a way around things that may be obstacles in your path. The honor comes at a very special time for me in the month of October, because October 16th is the day that I decided to leave my position with the DuPont Corporation, take the early retirement, and take that risk to go out on my own full time. And so many of the people that my colleagues said, "Oh no, you'll be sorry. You'll be sorry that you left. You'll want to come back." And that was 30 some years ago, and I haven't looked back. And it was great that I had the time there, but here I am still in my business. I did check with many mentors, and they all encouraged me to go ahead and move forward. And because of their encouragement, I did it, and I am here. One of my inaugural contracts, my very first one out the door, was with Junior Achievement. And I'm so proud of the work that I did with Junior Achievement and the relationship that I built with Frank McIntosh. And so here I am. Life comes again, full circle, right? You never know how it turns out. And I'm back here again with Junior Achievement. Early on in my business, during a meeting that I was facilitating, one of the participants said, kind of in a sarcastic tone, he says, "No, I can't believe that you're making a living out of charting," because when you're doing strategic planning sessions, you're charting all the time. And here I am so many years later, and yes, I'm charting, and I'm probably one of the fastest charters around. But it's one of those things that you keep doing the same thing long enough, you have to become better at it than most people. I've been very blessed to have a sustainable business that's weathered the numerous economic downturns, from Y2K, 9/11, the Great Recession. I thought that was it, and now we have a pandemic. But it just goes to show that if you do certain things in a certain kind of way, that you can build a business that's sustainable. But the best part of having this business and of working is being able to be involved in causes and community work that really matters to me. Mentorship, leadership, working with young people, education, social justice, those kinds of things, that really matters. And that's been the best part of this business. I've traveled all over, met other people from all over the country, and being able to build those relationships have been near and dear to my heart. And so for the first question the student had asked about, what's the one thing that you wish that you had done differently when you were my age? And so freshman in college, I say the one thing, I've been an entrepreneur since I was a little kid, where I made money working in a business, and I'm a goal setter, I'm a planner. And the one thing that I think when I look back at my career is that I wish that I had set bigger goals for myself. So I set goals, and I've met every goal I've ever set for myself. So I set bigger goals, and I met those goals too. So I kept setting bigger goals, bigger plans, and I met those goals too. And what I've realized is I could have been a bigger dreamer much younger in my life. And maybe I could do even more. And so that's what I would say. Set big dreams, big goals, and really have a plan to get at those goals. But don't let anybody say that you can't have a big goal. If you have a goal, set those goals and meet those goals. And listen to your parents, listen to your mentors, because they'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you what you need to know in order to be successful. The second question, what advice would I give a young person when they face obstacles to employment or advancement? I'll just say experience matters. Experience matters, and life is about the good and the bad. And in any job that you have, you're always going to have challenges and obstacles. You're going to run across a boss that you don't like, or a coworker that you don't get along with, or a project that you might not do very well in. But you'll have those challenges, and certainly I've had many challenges as the only woman, or the only person of color, or the youngest person on a team. And what I've learned is that to use my God-given gifts to figure out a strategy for overcoming or dealing with that obstacle or challenge. And it might not be the way anybody else has done it. It has to be unique to me. And so find your uniqueness, use that to overcome your obstacles. And if for some reason there's a mistake, or you fail, or you don't achieve what you thought you were going to achieve, use that as a learning opportunity. Use that to figure out, when this thing happens again, what you might do differently. And don't view it as a mistake. Don't view it as a failure. Just view it as a learning opportunity. Overcome your challenges, draw upon your natural gifts and abilities, and be resourceful. And you'll overcome those challenges and obstacles every time. So those are my remarks. I thank you again. I am so honored and privileged to be able to be with you here again today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that's all I have to say. So it's on to the next. Thank you so much.
Hello, Mr. Madden.
Yes.
There, we can hear you now.
Awesome. Good. Good evening. My name is Charles Madden. I am currently the Director of Talent Services for the Delaware Prosperity Partnership. I work alongside Noah Olsen, who you heard from earlier, who is responsible for our innovation efforts. Delaware Prosperity Partnership is a public-private partnership that works to bring jobs, business, and retain business here in Delaware. I have the distinct honor today of working with both Tim Butler and Terry Quinn and Rob to put together a slate of nominees. And over that time, I think all of us who had known each other prior to that, we certainly got closer and had some really strong conversations, really under leadership of Rob Epps, who I think contacted me first and talked about this effort and why it was so important to do it at this time. And again, Dr. Quinn went over that, so I'll be judicious with my time in that respect. But today, I really have the honor of sort of giving the open remarks for a gentleman who I have, in many respects, followed for probably 20 plus years. And it's interesting, as we were in our chat rooms today, I thought about reflections of my time knowing Dr. Billy Allen and his lovely wife, Dr. Kim Allen. You know, Billy Allen is I think, a giant here in the community. He is the founder and CEO of ALW Sourcing, which is a customer contact solutions business founded in 2006. Before I get into the formal bio, I thought I'd share a few remarks about Billy Allen and my experiences working with him over the last 20 plus years. Essentially, I think I really recall meeting Billy Allen through another Wilmington giant, James Gilliam Sr. And I recall the occasion of our first introduction. It was at the Ebony Tie Affair, and at that year's event was at the Hercules Country Club. And fairly new to the area, and I go into a room and there is just an abundance of really successful Black men who were celebrating in a way that I had never seen successful Black men celebrate. And so it encouraged me because there are a few points that I would make about Billy Allen today, and one of which that has stuck with me is it's hard to be something that you can't see. And so I saw a reflection of some very successful men who were not only generous with their time and treasure, but they were generous with their willingness to help individuals like myself and Tony Allen's and Tim Butler's, and those relationships have sustained over many, many, many years. And I appreciate Bill and his contribution, not to just our small group, but to the Delaware landscape in general. You know, and we talk about, you know, it's hard to be something you can't see. The other part of this is, if you look at Billy's successes, both as a businessman, I think it's also important to highlight his successes as a husband and father. And these are things that in our community, we don't see very often. So it's hard to be a great father. It's hard to be a great husband. It's hard to be a great community person without seeing those images. And Billy Allen has done a wonderful job of providing those images for myself and many others over the years. The second point I would make about Billy Allen is, and this is an interesting point that I got from another mentor over years, and he said, do well, then do good. And I want to unpack that for today's conversation, but I've interpreted it in many different ways, and I apply it to Billy Allen in this way. Billy has done well as a successful entrepreneur and founder of a very successful company, and one that even before I think I knew Billy as close as I knew him now, in my days at MBNA, I recall NCO as being one of our vendors, if I would use that term, and didn't really realize that there was a man as powerful as Billy Allen that I knew had really co-founded and was a very senior executive with NCO. And so, you know, Bill has done well as a businessman. He's done well in his work with his wife, Dr. Kim Allen, in educational reform, and has done well, as you can see, as a family man. And again, those are things that I will continue to reiterate and hold up as positive images, and even more of a reason why he should be inducted, or has been inducted, into the Delaware Hall of Fame, not just because of his business success, but also his success in the community. When we were doing our breakout rooms, you know, I generally would go off script, and some of the things that we discussed in our breakout rooms was just sort of resounding in my remarks about Billy Allen. The young man Joshua, who talked about his work with kids and why he's doing that work, and sort of his different approach. And we talked about teaching to the test and how that has challenged our kids in a way that doesn't allow them to really pursue the things that they might otherwise pursue, but for tests and how we have educated our kids. And so I want to congratulate J.A. and Joshua for his work with kids and how he's continuing to sort of change the landscape on how we do this. And then the final and third point I'd make about Billy Allen is, and it comes from a native Delawarean and one of my favorite attorneys. It's Brian Stephenson. And Brian Stephenson talks a lot about getting proximate or getting close. And in my time with Billy, again, and I've watched his work over the years, is how he is close and connected to the things he's involved in. And one way I would sort of demonstrate that as a really sort of casual way is, you know, I see Billy here and there, and oftentimes we talk, and I was saying to him earlier, seems like the last time I saw him was at the cleaners, because I would see him regularly, him and his wife, and we'd catch up while we're either waiting in line or getting our order. And every time I talked to Billy, I felt like he heard everything I said and was very supportive. And I think that's important as we sort of go about our times and how we move forward, is this idea of being proximate, really listening, really listening, understanding, and really trying to support people who are out with some great ideas and a different way of approaching life and a different way of approaching business. So, you know, again, Billy's bio is as impressive as he is as a human. But, you know, before, you know, Billy started ALW sourcing, he was a senior most leader at NCO, which I mentioned earlier, which is the largest outsourcing vendor in the world, which is amazing that our own Billy Allen is responsible or is involved with an effort that is now the largest effort in the world. As I mentioned earlier, he is married to the lovely Dr. Kim Allen, and they have co-authored a book called It Flows Through Us, which provides business strategies for entrepreneurs and illustrates how giving back promotes generous and abundance. Finally, I'm going to turn it over to Tom Horne, who is, as we say in Delaware, there's few degrees of separation. In my time at MBNA, Tom was a senior leader there, and now is a senior leader at Chase. and hope to continue to work with Tom in my current role with Delaware Prosperity Partnership. So Tom, I'll turn it over to you. Again, congratulations, Billy Allen.
I could not be more honored to be here today to recognize a highly deserving man that I am privileged to call a dear friend. Junior Achievement's stated purpose is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed. And while I am no longer young, I have known Bill Allen for over 30 years, so I can speak firsthand about the impact he has on young people, whether aspiring students or someone just starting out in their career, as I was when we met, and importantly, how that impact continues 30 years later. Bill was an established account executive when I first met him, very early in my banking career while I was working for one of his clients. I was just getting started, and Bill didn't have to pay me any mind, but I will never forget how he always greeted me with that big warm smile of his, and how he would always make time for me, time for a conversation or to see just how I was doing. He treated me the same way he treated my boss, and to me, that was a true sign of character. Junior Achievement's values describe Bill Allen perfectly. A commitment to entrepreneurship. After a very successful career as an executive with several large corporations, Bill showed his entrepreneurial spirit by starting his own successful firm, ALW Sourcing. And while there were certainly many reasons why Bill ventured out on his own, one of those reasons we have talked about was his desire to be a job creator for others. Respecting the background of all individuals. In these difficult times of social unrest and racial injustice in our nation, Bill was the first to reach out to me, and he helped me in ways he doesn't even realize. And he continues to play an instrumental role as a teacher and advocate in my personal journey. Believe in the power of partnership and collaboration. Although a master at building strong and lasting relationships, there is no better example of partnership and collaboration than what Bill and his wonderful wife Kim have accomplished together, personally, professionally, and in service to others. Humble servant leaders who go about it quietly, so as to not draw the attention to themselves. Billy is a gifted salesman, a corporate executive, a trailblazer, an author, an entrepreneur, and philanthropist. But more important than all of that, he is a good human being with a passion for honesty, integrity, and excellence. So to the students out there, in the end, that is what really matters. When I think of Bill, I'm reminded of my favorite description of what makes a leader. Jim Rohn said, "The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, to be kind but not weak, to be bold but not a bully, to be thoughtful but not lazy, to be humble but not timid, to be proud but not arrogant, to have humor but without folly." That's Bill. Strong business acumen and leadership built on a consistent display of bedrock character. This Saturday, October 24th, is the inaugural Black Entrepreneurs Day, and I cannot think of a more appropriate week to recognize my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 Delaware Business Leaders Hall of Fame Laureate, Bill Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Horne. I've been so busy doing things that I rarely stop to see that people are noticing. So thank you. I am blessed and humbled to have the opportunity to receive this award. As I look out and see so many wonderful junior achievers, I want to let you know that I am grateful. I'm humbled, and I want to thank you for honoring me this evening. I will have this wonderful physical reminder that people are touched and people are watching. So thank you. This humbles me. There were two questions that the junior achievers asked. The first question was, what is one thing you wish you knew or wish you had done differently when you were my age? Well, if I knew then what I know now, what a difference it would have been. When I was your age, I was a dreamer. I dreamed of huge and big and major success stories. However, my understanding of how to make it happen was very small. So I wish I knew how much value there is in knowing how to get to the big leagues or how to be successful. Teamwork. I understood how to run a baseball team. I was a captain of a baseball team. We were very successful. But what I did not know was those same leadership skills that was applied to making that team successful can also be applied to business. It also can be applied to your life forever. And one other thing, I did not know how important it was to continue to stay in school, to continue to attend the Junior Achievers Program. What I didn't know also was the school is not to teach you how to do the job or what to think about and how to get the job done. What I should have known then was the right way to look at it is school and the Junior Achievements Program should teach you how to think, not what to think. So I wished I had known more about looking at things from a big picture point of view. Second question, what is your advice for a young person like me that when they face obstacles in employment or to advance? Well, first, let's be really clear. There is no other person like you. You are your parents, you are your community, you are your faith, and you are your dreams. So there is no other person like you. You also may be black, white, maybe a man, you may be a woman, you may be a member of the LGBTQ community, you may be Latin. Regardless of any of those factors, you may be all of those things. And yes, people will put obstacles in front of you because they may not agree with any part of all of those characteristics. You may also think that's unfair. You may think it's unnecessary. But I will tell you, if you look at it as a personal affront, you cannot apply all of the good characteristics that you have if you're not cool. So try to remove the emotional piece out of your judgment and make the right call. Try to look at it from above. Look at it as if you're trying to accomplish the big picture. Remember the chess game? The chess game, you're constantly trying to decide what is the next 3 moves, not always the next move. Life is the same way. So remember, look at the big picture, the long view again. Have you ever learned things that you know that you could apply at a different time? This is one of those things. In closing, Junior Achievers, you have every tool available to you. So take the long view, the big picture, to see from above all the moves. You can make them. You can make it. Remember, build your team. Keep your leadership skills sharp, and you will do just fine. Keep up the good work, and never stop giving good ideas, achievers. Never stop. To all, thank you, and God bless you all.
Good evening. I'm Tim Butler, Head of Global Customer Experience at Iron Mountain. And like my co-chairs Terry and Charles, I'm both humbled and pleased to be a part of the 2020 Delaware Junior Achievers Hall of Fame Selection Committee. That brings us to our final inductee of the evening. Our next laureate is Chef Dana Herbert. Chef Herbert is a world-renowned pastry and savory chef and owner of the multi-award-winning Desserts by Dana located in Newark, Delaware. Chef Herbert is an entrepreneur, an author, a speaker and spokesperson who's turned his love for food into a successful business and an iconic brand. His competitive edge has led to big wins on TLC's The Cake Boss, Next Great Baker, and Rachel Ray's Celebrity Chef Off, as well as an ongoing appearance on shows like My Fair Wedding, Ultimate Cake-Off, and the seasonally timely Halloween Wars. Past columnist for Cuisine Noir and author of the book, The Sweet and Savory Union, Dana is a 1998 graduate of the University of Delaware and holds a degree in hotel, restaurant, and institutional management. He holds a second bachelor's degree in culinary arts and an associate's in pastry of arts degree from Johnson & Wales University. Here to provide a testimonial for Chef Dana is associate professor and human services internship coordinator in the University of Delaware's Department of Human Development and Family Services, Norma Gaines-Hanks.
Thank you, Tim. I'm so honored to be here as part of this celebration of business leaders into the Hall of Fame. And before I get started talking about Dana Eugene Herbert, I want to send a nice shout out to Devonna Williams, another honoree who I had the pleasure of knowing for more years than I care to acknowledge publicly. Let me tell you a little bit about Dana. I've known Dana, again, over 30 years from my early years at the University of Delaware. And I've always found him to be a very focused, caring, and compassionate young man. I particularly put him to the test several years ago when a niece, and I use that term loosely, was visiting from Barbados. Actually, she was going to school in Miami at Johnson & Wales, and she called me up and said, "Auntie, I want to spend Thanksgiving with you. I want to experience an American Thanksgiving." And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, that's a good thing. But then I wondered, what was I going to do with a 19-year-old for a week? And so I contacted Dana, since they shared that common bond of being in hospitality, and asked him if he would be willing to mentor her for a couple of days and let her see how he runs his business so she can get sort of the back of the house exposure. He did not hesitate in saying yes. And so with my niece in tow, who at the time was 19, as I said, I dropped her off at Desserts by Dana, left her not knowing what to expect. At the end of the day, when I picked her up, I said, "How was it?" She said, "Amazing." The second day I dropped her off, she was tired, but she had this big smile on her face, and she said, "Dana was so patient and caring and excited that I wanted to enter hospitality, and gave me a lot of insight." She came away from that with an experience that she'll never forget. Even now, 6 years later, she's living in London and doing other things. But even now, she talks about what an amazing experience it was for her to spend her time with him and see how he interacted with not only the people who worked in the shop, but also the customers who came in. Now, mind you, this is Thanksgiving. And on top of that, his wife was due to deliver a baby any day. So I really appreciated Dana, whose actions reflected a quote from Booker T. Washington, which is, "A sure way for someone to lift himself up is by helping to lift someone else." Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 Business Leaders Hall of Fame Laureate, Dana Eugene Herbert.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Norma, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you to my fraternity brother, Tim, for that lovely introduction as well. I am excited, over the moon, humbled, all at the same time. It's like I was telling them earlier in the networking sessions, you know, I wake up every day and I just try to do my best. Nothing more, nothing less. There's tons of people I would like to thank. First and foremost, God for giving me a purpose in His plan and allowing me to just walk it out every day. To my father, Kirsten Herbert, he's always been beyond a dad. He's been like a hero, a role model on the right things to be doing. To my late mother, you know, it's been almost 2 years in November that she passed, but Mom, look, we did it. You know, she's always been my one of my number one cheerleaders. So I graciously accept this on behalf of her, for always standing by me, no matter what. To my wife, Natisha, thank you as well. Like Norma said, I don't know if I ever told Norma the other part of that story was that after her niece left, my wife did have that baby. I don't know if it was that day or the next day. And I think it might have been 5 or 6 hours after the baby was born, I had to get permission to leave the hospital to come back to work because we were putting out over 1,000 pies. So to my wife, thank you for putting up with my, I'll call it ish. For my brother Jeff, we push each other to limits. I don't even know if we consciously realize, he's been a strong advocate of mine, and I'm one of his, and it's been a blessing being his brother and watching him grow. And again, to the rest of my family, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, to my staff at Desserts by Dana, thank you for supporting me. When I look at this journey that I've been on, and even just seeing some of the names here, doing some of the introductions and the other awardees like Devonna and Bill, and just to have my name in the same hat with these individuals, I'm thankful that people are seeing the work that I'm doing. I haven't necessarily done it, quote unquote, for recognition, just trying to be the best I could be. So to all those, I say thank you. And again, to the committee and Junior Achievement, thank you for this award. To Kyer, I believe it was, and I apologize if I pronounced it wrong, but I believe it's Kyer. You had a question, and it was, what is the one thing you wish you knew or wish you could have done differently when you were my age? And some of the blanket answers would be, as a business owner, wow, I wish I would have paid more attention in accounting 1 and 2. Or I wish I would have done. I vividly remember being at my kitchen sink. I believe I was 43 years old, maybe a year or so ago, and I'm washing dishes, and I call myself having a conversation with the big guy. And I'm a big man of faith. And I remember just having a conversation, and I felt the spirit come over me and said, Dana, everything in your life was done to get you right here, right now, to this kitchen sink so that we could have this conversation. And I was blown away because I was getting it. And so when I look at where I am and what I've done, maybe other than taking Dad's car out a few times without permission, I think I would do it all over again to end up at that kitchen sink and having that spiritual moment with my Creator, and Him telling me, hey, you're in your purpose. It's time, buckle up and hang on. I think the other gentleman's name was Kai, if I'm not mistaken. What's your advice for a young person like me? I believe you said when you face obstacles to employment or advancement. I'm not going to lie to you that, there's been challenges for people of color who've come along. However, what I'm going to advise is that, number one, you take responsibility. Take responsibility for your own actions. And, oops, pardon me, I'm getting a low battery warning. There we go. Okay, sorry. So my first advice is just to take responsibility for your own actions. And what I mean by that is pretty simple. It's that we all were created special. We all were created for a purpose. I feel as though when you're working in that purpose, as well as taking responsibility for maturing and stepping into what you were created to be, that nothing can really stop the inevitable growth that you're going to have. Your matriculation through college, from getting to where you want to be. You can't stop your career path. It can't stop your matriculation through an institution. Will there be obstacles, young man? Sure. Will there be injustices? Yes. Will there be adversity? I think the Bible promises that there will be. So just prepare yourself as best as you can, learn all you can, seek great mentors like some of the awardees tonight or past awardees that align with you and your purpose and what you want to be. Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you are in other areas. Dig deep within yourself, love hard, and as Norma used to tell me all the time, and still tells me all the time, take time to smell the roses, Dana. It's not all about work. And I say, if you can do those things, you're going to have an amazingly abundant life. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dana.
Thank you for getting video running for us there, Ryan. Great stories. Just really excited to see where Kyer and Kai take their businesses to the next level. And again, appreciate everybody for their support. In closing, we really appreciate everyone bearing with us for the technology this year. It's a different format, and I believe overall everything went very smooth. So, thank you to Zoom and their technology as well. Many thanks again to all of our sponsors, our outstanding laureates, and our scholarship winners. And at this point, we will close the Hall of Fame event for the year of 2020.